Chapter 1. A Mysterious Find. In the heart of Riverton Bend, where the Willow River whispers tales of the past, the school library stood as a trove of knowledge. It was here, amidst rows of books and the scent of aged paper, that Henry Hawke, Smart and his best friend, Leo Baxter, found themselves immersed in research for their history project. The library, with its high ceilings and large arched windows, bathed the room in a soft, natural light. Henry, with his chestnut hair neatly combed, browsed through the shelves with a detective's precision. His eyes, sharp and observant, scanned the titles, searching for the perfect source. Leo, on the other hand, was a whirlwind of energy. His curly red hair seemed to mirror his spirited approach to life. He flitted from shelf to shelf, pulling out books with a carefree enthusiasm, his infectious smile never fading. "Check this out, Hawke," Leo called out, waving an old, leather-bound book. "This might have something on the town's founding." Henry walked over, his multi-pocketed jacket swaying slightly. He took the book, feeling its weight and history in his hands. As he opened it, a folded piece of paper fell out, landing softly on the floor. "That?" Leo asked, peering over Henry's shoulder. Henry picked up the paper, unfolding it carefully. It was a map of Riverton Bend, but not as they knew it. This one was old, its edges frayed and its lines faded. It showed a Riverton Bend from decades ago, with landmarks they didn't recognize. "This isn't just any map," Henry said, his voice low with intrigue. "This is a map of the old town before the modernization." Leo's eyes widened. "Do you think it's a treasure map?" Henry chuckled. "I doubt it, but it could be a clue to something forgotten, something from Riverton Bend's past." They spread the map out on a nearby table, their heads bent together as they studied it. The library's silence enveloped them, a stark contrast to the excitement brewing within. Mrs. Finch, glanced over her glasses at them, a smile tugging at her lips. She had seen many students come and go, but Henry and Leo were different. Their thirst for knowledge and adventure set them apart. "Boys, make sure to take care of that book," she called out softly, her voice echoing slightly in the quiet room. "We will, Mrs. Finch," Henry replied, not taking his eyes off the map. As they looked closer, they noticed markings on the map, symbols that seemed out of place. They were neither geographical features nor landmarks. "What do you make of these symbols, Leo?" Henry asked, pointing to a series of small drawings near what appeared to be the old town centre. He leaned in, his face a picture of concentration. "They look like clues, maybe directions?" Henry nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. "We need to figure out what these symbols mean. They could lead us to something important." They spent the rest of the afternoon in the library, poring over books on local history, trying to decipher the symbols. The map, with its mysterious markings, had turned their history project into something far more exciting. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the library, Henry and Leo gathered their things. They carefully placed the map and the old book in Henry's backpack, determined to continue their investigation. Outside, Riverton Bend awaited them, its secrets hidden in plain sight. With the map as their guide, Henry and Leo were ready to uncover the mysteries of the past, their friendship and curiosity leading the way. At home, the town seemed different to them, more alive with history and stories waiting to be discovered. The old buildings, the winding river, and the whispers of the wind all held new meaning. Henry looked at Leo, a smile playing on his lips. "This is just the beginning, Leo. Riverton Bend has many stories to tell, and we're going to uncover them all." Leo's smile matched his friend's. "I wouldn't want to be on this adventure with anyone else, Hawke. Let's see where this map takes us." And so, with the mystery of the old map in their hands, Henry Hawke Smart and Leo Baxter set off on an adventure that would take them deep into the heart of Riverton Bend's history, forging a bond that would last a lifetime. Chapter 2. Deciphering the Clues. As the evening light faded into the hues of dusk, Henry Hawke Smart and Leo Baxter sat at the old wooden desk in Henry's bedroom, the mysterious map spread out before them. Henry's room, a testament to his sleuthing spirit, was filled with various detective paraphernalia, a corkboard of clues, and maps of Riverton Bend. The map they had found in the library was now the centerpiece of their investigation. "Where do we even start?" Leo asked, his eyes scanning the faded lines and symbols. Henry, his gaze fixed on the map, tapped a finger on the desk. "We start with the landmarks we know. We need to align this old map with the current layout of Riverton Bend." They fetched a modern map of the city and laid it next to the old one. Carefully, they began to compare the two, noting the landmarks that still existed and those that had been lost to time. The old town centre, the winding course of the Willow River, and a few ancient buildings served as anchors, helping them orient the old map in the present-day context. "Now, these symbols," Henry said, pointing to the curious markings, "they don't seem random. Each one is placed near a landmark. We need to find out what they represent." Leo leaned in, his curiosity piqued. "They look like old symbols or icons. Maybe something to do with the town's history?" Henry nodded, pulling a book from his shelf titled The Law of Riverton Bend. They flipped through the pages, searching for anything that resembled the symbols. After a few minutes, Leo's eyes lit up. "This!" he exclaimed, pointing to a page. The book described ancient symbols used by the town's founders, each representing a key aspect of the town's early day. Comparing the symbols in the book with those on the map, they began to decode their meanings. One symbol represented the old mill, another the first schoolhouse, and yet another the original town hall. "Hawk, these aren't just random places. They're significant historical sites," Leo observed, excitement in his voice. Henry's mind raced. "If we visit these sites, we might find more clues, maybe even uncover why this map was hidden in that book." Armed with their newfound knowledge, they planned to visit each site the next day. They marked the locations on their modern map, creating a route that would take them through the heart of Riverton Bend's history. As they worked, Henry's family occasionally peeked in, offering snacks and encouragement. Margaret Smart, Henry's mother, watched them with a smile, happy to see her son so passionately engaged. George Smart, Henry's father, offered a magnifying glass and a flashlight, tools that might come in handy. Next day, with backpacks filled with notebooks, pens, and a camera, Henry and Leo set out on their bicycles. Their first stop was the old mill, now a renovated museum. As they explored, they found a hidden plaque, obscured by ivy, with the same symbol from the map etched into it. Each site brought new discoveries, hidden engravings, forgotten plaques, and even old photographs in a local archive. Each clue they uncovered shed light on Riverton Bend's history and the significance of the map. As the day turned to evening, Henry and Leo sat at the Riverton Bend diner, their heads full of the day's adventures. They discussed their findings, piecing together the story of the map. "It's like a historical treasure hunt," Leo said, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Henry nodded, a sense of accomplishment in his eyes. "We're not just uncovering the past, Leo. We're connecting with the history of our town, understanding its roots." To decipher the map was more than an adventure. It was a journey through time, bringing the past of Riverton Bend into the present. And for Henry Hawksmart and Leo Baxter, it was just the beginning of many more mysteries to solve. Chapter 3. The Hathaway's Hold. After a day spent tracing the historical landmarks of Riverton Bend, Henry Hawk, Smart, and Leo Baxter sat at Henry's desk, surrounded by the artifacts and notes they had collected. Their discoveries had not only deepened their understanding of the town's history, but also hinted at a greater mystery, potentially leading to the fabled lost room of Riverton Bend. 1. The mill's hidden plaque. At the old mill, now a museum, they had found a hidden plaque covered in ivy. The plaque commemorated the founding families of Riverton Bend, and among the names was an unfamiliar one, Hathaway. This name wasn't mentioned in any of the town's current records. 2. The schoolhouse engravings. In the foundations of the original schoolhouse, now a community centre, they found engravings of the founding date of the town, along with a series of numbers that seemed to be coordinates. These coordinates, when plotted on their map, pointed to a location on the outskirts of town, an area now covered by the dense forest. 3. The Town Hall Archives. In the basement of the old town hall, which served as a local archive, they discovered old town plans that showed a series of underground tunnels. One of these tunnels appeared to lead to a location marked as Hathaway's Hold, a term they hadn't encountered before, or photographs and diaries. Among the materials they gathered were old photographs and diaries from the town's early days. These references spoke of a hidden room where important town decisions were made in secrecy during the town's formative years. This room was said to house significant artifacts and documents from the town's founding. 5. The Hathaway's legacy. Further research revealed that the Hathaway family was one of the original settlers who mysteriously disappeared from records. The family was rumored to have a hidden chamber where they kept important documents and artifacts. Piecing these clues together, Henry and Leo hypothesized that the lost room might be Hathaway's hold, a secret chamber belonging to the Hathaway family. This room could potentially contain historical treasures or documents that shed light on the town's early history. The coordinates from the schoolhouse, the reference to Hathaway's hold in the town hall archives, and the mentions in diaries and photographs all pointed to this possibility. The underground tunnels shown in the old town plans suggested a way to access this hidden chamber. This could be the biggest discovery in Riverton Bend's history, Henry remarked, his eyes reflecting the thrill of the chase. Yeah, and think about it, Hawk. If we find this room, we could learn so much about our town's past, added Leo, his excitement palpable. Their next step would be to explore the area indicated by the coordinates and to investigate the entrance to the underground tunnels as depicted in the old town plan. With the mystery of the lost room within reach, Henry and Leo prepared for what could be the most significant adventure of their young detective careers, potentially unveiling a hidden chapter in the history of Riverton Bend. Chapter 4. A Step into Unknown. The next morning, Henry Hawke, Smart and Leo Baxter set out on the first leg of their expedition. The air was crisp and the sky a clear blue, perfect for a day of adventure. Equipped with backpacks containing their notes, a flashlight, some snacks, and a camera, they rode their bikes towards the coordinates they had deciphered from the old schoolhouse. As they pedaled through the streets of Riverton Bend, the houses and shops gave way to the open countryside, and soon the dense forest that bordered the town. They reached the edge of the woods where the coordinates led. Dismounting their bikes, they looked at each other with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "This is it, Hawk," Leo said, his eyes scanning the thick trees. "The edge of the unknown." Henry nodded, his detective instincts fully engaged. "Let's be careful, Leo. We don't know what we might find here." Into the forest, following a barely visible path that wound through the trees. The sunlight filtering through the leaves created a dappled pattern on the ground, and the air was filled with the sounds of nature. After about an hour of walking, Henry stopped and checked the coordinates on his phone. "We should be close," he murmured, looking around. Leo pointed ahead. "Look, there's something there. Is that a door?" In a small clearing, partially hidden by overgrowth, was an old wooden door set into the hillside. It was weathered and moss-covered, blending into the surrounding. "This has to be it," Henry said, his heart racing. "The Hathaway's hold." They approached the door cautiously. Henry tried the handle, but it was locked. He then noticed a series of symbols carved into the doorframe, symbols that matched those on the map. "Remember the symbols from the library map? They're here too," Leo exclaimed. Henry examined them closely. "They're not just decorative. They're a combination lock. The map must hold the key to the sequence." They pulled out the map and began to compare the symbols with those on the door. Working together, they figured out the correct sequence and pressed the symbols in order. With a creaking sound that echoed in the quiet forest, the door slowly swung open, revealing a dark passage leading underground. "Whoa, we did it!" Leo whispered, his voice a mixture of awe and nervousness. Henry shone his flashlight into the darkness. "Let's see where this leads. Stay close." They entered the tunnel, the beam of the flashlight cutting through the darkness. The air was cool and musty, and the walls were lined with old bricks. Forward, they noticed markings and old photographs on the walls, depicting the early days of Riverton Bend and the Hathaway family. The tunnel eventually opened into a larger chamber, filled with artifacts, old documents, and items from Riverton Bend's past. "This is incredible," Leo said, his voice filled with wonder. "It's like a time capsule." Henry was carefully examining the documents. "These could tell us so much about the town's history. We need to document everything." They spent hours in the chamber, taking photographs and notes. The room was a treasure trove of history, untouched for decades. As the day waned, they realized they needed to head back. They carefully closed the door to Hathaway's hold, concealing it once again. Riding back to town, their minds were buzzing with the day's discoveries. "Uncovered a part of Riverton Bend's history that's been hidden for years," Henry said, a sense of pride in his voice. "Yeah, and we're just getting started," Leo added, grinning. "Who knows what other secrets this town holds?" Their first expedition had been a resounding success, marking the beginning of many more adventures for the young detectives of Riverton Bend. Chapter 5. The Revelation. The following day, Henry Hawke, Smart, and Leo Baxter made their way to the mayor's office in Riverton Bend's town hall, a stately building with a clock tower that had been a part of the town since its early day. They were determined to share the astonishing discovery of Hathaway's hold and its historical treasures. As they entered the mayor's office, they were greeted by Mayor Thompson, a jovial man known for his love of Riverton Bend's history. He looked at them over his glasses with a mix of curiosity and amusement. "Henry and Leo, what brings you to my office today?" Mayor Thompson asked, leaning back in his chair. "Mayor Thompson, we've made an incredible discovery," Henry began, his voice filled with excitement. "We found Hathaway's hold, a hidden room in the forest with artifacts and documents from the town's founding." Leo chimed in. "It's like a time capsule of Riverton Bend's history. You have to see it." The mayor raised an eyebrow, a skeptical smile on his face. "Boys, that sounds like a fantastic story, but Hathaway's hold, that's just an old town legend." "But it's true, Mayor. We have pictures and notes," Henry insisted, showing him the photographs they had taken. The mayor perused the photos with interest, but remained unconvinced. "These could be from anywhere, boys. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but we need more than this to believe in a hidden room from a legend." But undeterred, Henry made a proposal. "Then come with us, Mayor Thompson. We'll show you Hathaway's hold." After a moment's hesitation, the mayor agreed, his curiosity getting the better of him. "All right, I'll take a walk with you, but let's not get our hopes too high." Word of their expedition spread quickly, and soon a small crowd had gathered, including Mrs. Finch, the librarian, and a few local historians. The group made their way to the edge of the forest, with Henry and Leo leading. As they walked, the townspeople shared their doubts and theories. "I've lived here all my life, and I've never heard of anyone finding this so-called Hathaway's hold," one of the historians muttered. Arriving at the hidden door in the hillside, Henry and Leo showed the crowd how to open it using the symbols they had decoded. The door creaked open, revealing the dark passage. The crowd gasped in surprise. One by one, they followed Henry and Leo into the tunnel, their skepticism turning to awe as they entered the chamber filled with historical artifacts. Mayor Thompson was speechless as he examined the documents and items that painted a vivid picture of the town's early days. "This is remarkable," he finally said. "You boys have discovered a significant piece of our town's history." The local historians were abuzz with excitement, discussing the implications of the find. Mrs. Finch, tears in her eyes, said, "These young detectives have done something incredible for Riverton Bend." The news of the discovery spread like wildfire, and soon the story of Henry and Leo's discovery was the talk of the town. The mayor organized a team to preserve and study the artifacts, ensuring that Hathaway's hold would become an important part of Riverton Bend's heritage. As they walked back to town, the mayor turned to the boys. "Henry, Leo, you've proven us all wrong today. You've shown that even legends can hold truth. Riverton Bend owes you a debt of gratitude." Henry smiled, a sense of accomplishment filling him. "We are just glad we could help uncover a part of our town's story," grinned, adding, "And who knows what other mysteries we'll solve next. Right, Hawke?" The crowd cheered for them as they made their way back into town, the young detectives of Riverton Bend having turned a legend into reality.